Hi, everyone. I'm Christina Pereira. Some of you may know me. We're in the process of putting together some virtual workshops to help everyone with support, connection during these very challenging times. And today, I absolutely wanted everyone to work on and to see some tips on how to get through the losses, changes, everything that we're going through right now. As a nation, we're going through a crisis, forcing all of us to change. I wanted to give you a little information about me because I want you to know that I'm not reading these strips to you, these PowerPoints. It's coming from experience that I've had, and I'm hoping that it's going to be helpful. So we're going to be talking about healing, hope, and honor. So I have New York City and New Jersey strong. CFS is an extremely strong agency. I started here like 20 years ago. I started off in New Jersey and I was working in the day programs. And I started off some of the programs there. Prior to that, I was in Connecticut doing the same thing. I was inspired by my mother who worked in this field until she was 80. I loved everything about this field. And 18, 19 years ago, I left CFS. Really didn't want to, but I needed to go to Connecticut to get my license as a marriage and family therapist. So I started working in the private practice. And what was interesting at that point is that there was, I think it was my first week, I was transitioning from both, and that's when 9/11 happened. So at that point, I was doing therapy, and I saw the devastations, as we all have, with what people were going through, and the struggles, and the challenges, and the pain, the denial. So I really got to see the psychology and how to help people through a huge, major, life-altering crisis. And so I was there for another half of my life. My passion really is in this field. So I came back, and I'm very thankful for Barbara, Steve, Linda, everybody at CFS for welcoming me back. And this time I am in New York City, one of the best cities, my absolute favorite. I'm so honored to be here and to be working with all of you. So I bring some therapeutic components to it. As far as, some of the things that I've seen. While I was in practice, I also had worked with people, teachers, parents that were affected by the Sandy Hook incident, which again was life-altering. So when I go into reactions to loss, I want to connect this with, think about what you're feeling right now, perhaps what you were feeling a month ago, and what's going on now as we're starting to lose people that we're close to. Consistently across the board, when we hear bad news, when we are traumatized, when there is something very life-altering, we have the initial reaction of we become numb. Our brain can only handle so many different things. Becoming numb is like going into shock. It's also denial. They're all connected. You're in that phase, there's only so much that you can handle, and there's only so much that you can hear. And in that, there is a very important part that you can't take on too much. So a couple examples is some of the teachers that were in Sandy Hook and parents, they had contacted me shortly after it happened. They had left the building, and they were talking as if nothing had happened, and they were concerned about their cell phones, their projects for the day, and when they were going to be able to get back in. So at that point, their brain had shut into denial. They knew what they just experienced a half an hour ago, but they were unable to absolutely believe it, see it. It was too overwhelming. It was too much. So that's a wonderful gift that we have when we're able to block certain things. just don't want to stay there too long. What I found that was useful at that particular time, very early on, when things are very, very delicate, is to not go back and see what's really happening, because it could trigger something and put you in a bad spot. So I'd encourage those people not to watch the news, and to just wait for their, loved ones to come home, their partners, and, to maybe do something different, but really trying to get them at that moment not to be able to see what's actually happening. Because when you're in the numb denial state, you're actually outside of the situation looking in. So you're not really experiencing it because, again, too much to handle. Depression will come in and it will fade in, it will fade out. And it's really important to not isolate. Even though we have social distancing, we can't go out. It is imperative that everybody connects, because anyone can fall into a situational depression. And most of us in New York City, we walk. So with walking comes an automatic serotonin, which is the chemical that we need to feel good and, keeps moods, everything okay. When you stop walking, that's really a form of exercise. And emotions are going to come up, and they may be a little bit more intense. Don't be shocked. Don't be surprised by that. When you know and you have information, you know what to expect, it's not quite as hard to handle. So you're going to fade in and out of that. Angry. It just might happen for some unknown reason. All of a sudden you're getting angry with people. You're restless. There's a confusion. Can't sleep right. All of these things happen. It's necessary for us to process. So don't be afraid of it. Try not to get stuck. If you find that you're in anger too long, sort of label it. Okay, I'm in the anger stage. I'm numb right now. Whatever that is, you need to find an outlet. Expressing yourself is so important. So if we sit back, get in our heads, think of the worst case scenarios, anxiety is going to go out of control. And what we have to do is let it out. Everyone's got a different way to express themselves. Some people are communicators. I personally love to talk. That's either a good thing or a bad thing, but that's the way I would express myself. And it's, it's an outlet. I like to provide information. I just, I would rather talk than perhaps write something. If you know, or if you're a person that loves to write, you'll find that a lot of emotion will come out just naturally. You're not even trying to do it. Right. That's why when people are encouraged to use a journal, it works for some, not for everyone. Some people like to sing, music. We have the dance club, we have people singing, and you can see, we all know who we really are when we're in those moments. We feel free, and it's an expression. Expressing is so important at this point. So I'm going to go into the stages of grief, even though it looked very similar to what I was going through before, but I just want to explain it a little more in depth. So with the anger, the frustration, things will become a little bit more frustrating. You'll become a little bit more irritated, just sort of, anxious, not yourself. And when they talk about bargaining is like, if this happens, if this doesn't happen, I promise I'll never do this again. You're trying so hard to keep things the same. I'll go back to the anger. Sometimes the anger is blaming someone for something that's happened. You have to be very careful, because if you are noticing now, people are kind of falling into a pattern where they're blaming people. Everyone wants to put blame somewhere, and with that, it's there's nothing at all healthy, about that, because the last thing we need are for, people to be against each other right now. We all have to work together. And, in just jumping back with denial. Denial can pop in and out at different times. So there's a little bit of a difference between being numb and then being in denial. So numb is almost like when you go to the dentist and you have Novocaine. So once you're able to feel again, your brain may operate and go into denial. Again, another protection level where things just might be way too much to handle. So finally get to acceptance. Acceptance is, you know what, I have no control over this. And there's not too much I can do about it. So I'm going to do the best I can and come up with a game plan and just try to, just try to get by and try to be there. I encourage everybody every morning to get up and think about, what are you grateful for? People say that all the time, but when you really actually do it, it's amazing, because we all have something very important and we have things to be thankful for. Anything. We're here. We have a great group of people. We have a wonderful support system. Everyone in this agency has been here for years. There is a commitment. There is a high level of strength. And there is a high level of strength in each and every one of you. Because a month ago, life was different. It was a forced change. And, when you can't control something, probably like 7-8 days into it, you get used to it. And then it becomes not quite as bad as what you thought it was going to be. So after acceptance, what I find to be very, very helpful, and what has helped people tremendously in going through these horrific situations, is finding the meaning in the person that you lost. So if you lost a parent, if you lost a good friend, whoever that person is that meant something to you, that impacted you, that you're feeling very, very sad over losing, think about them in a way. Who were they? What did they represent? What was important to them? What would people say about them? And then think about, what parts of their personality, did they leave with you? Because when somebody leaves something with you, you carry it. And then it's a component of taking something from them. And now you have them with you. You don't physically have them with you, but you have a part of their spirit, their energy that, and people are going to see different things. They're going to have different components of what they really appreciated in somebody. And, you take that meaning and you say, you know what, this is what I really admired. And this is what I miss. But instead of feeling sad about it, feel good about who that person is and feel very good about what you want to take with you. Support. I'm going to emphasize this a couple times. So New York City, the wonderful city, the strong city that it is, has many, many different supports that are out there. Some have been recently developed. These are all different phone numbers that you'll see. These things are going to be posted, so you're going to have them. And, 311 is something that people are very much used to, but there are now 800 numbers that are just support numbers. People that you are now working with. Everyone knows that, we all need something. And I would go to these, go to whoever is there. Go to people that you feel close with if you're feeling down. Even if you're feeling happy and you see somebody next to you that you know that's not doing so well, let someone know. Because when you're together as a team and everybody knows what they're feeling, you can be strong for each other. And that's why people are actually doing very well. So support is everything. So the different ways to cope through loss, through all of these changes, again, is the expression. Find the way that works for you to let this out. If you internalize, you will implode. When you implode, it can affect your autoimmune system. It can affect your body. You can become sick. You don't want to. You need to be as strong as possible. Outlet, singing, dancing. Do what feels right. Do what gives you peace. It's different for everybody. with loss, there is one very important piece that if you remember this, it's going to help you heal. Honor a person's life. Honor that person for who they were. Honor their sayings, their quotes, things that made you feel good. In doing that, you don't have to do that alone. Have a virtual group, because now with social distancing, it's hard to sit and have conversations. But one of the positive things that I'm seeing is that people are talking on the phone more. There's a big difference between having a conversation, either face to face or on the phone, and texting. Things can be misinterpreted when you're texting. It's nice to have that contact. So if you're trying to honor someone's life, you want to talk about them. You want to talk about, the things that they